Howdy partners, it's so good to be here again, as always to talk about films that I love. Of course, I'm still catching up on those final 2024 films that are just coming out everywhere in cinemas right now in Montreal. Literally feels like the floodgates have opened for those final films of that year. And so it happens that I went to see The Girl with the Needle at Cinema Down for a very late night showing because it was the last screening of that film in Montreal, so I couldn't miss it. In any case, The Girl with the Needle is a film from Denmark that, if I understand correctly, was mostly filmed in Łódź, which is a city in Poland. And this is a story that is loosely based on a true story. Shocking to say the least. We start in 1990 in Copenhagen, where Caroline works as a seamstress in a factory. She is desperately trying to make a living to just scrape by on the basic necessities while her husband is MIA, missing, probably dead during the First World War. So not only do we get a look at the dire economic state of people at that time, but we also get a first-hand view of what it was like for single mothers to survive in that world. Going to this film, I expected it to be a tough watch, but this was so much darker than anything I could have ever prepared for. And I'm not saying dark just because of the frankly sensational black and white cinematography. Yeah, I cannot sing high enough praises in that facet of the film. It feels like every frame of this film is worthy of a painting. The art direction is A+ on all fronts. I love the rich, grainy, and frankly grimy and grungy detail of the home that our protagonist is inhabiting. And there's an element of gothic horror that's imbuing every frame of this film. The shadows in this film are simply enveloping. I didn't think we'd get another 2024 film that would give Nosferatu a run for its money in that regard. But lo and behold, here we are. There's this one moment relatively early in the film where there's this man who's pretty much consumed in darkness, and all we see are these two light dots from his eye just peering out from the abyss. One of the most eerie moments in any film I've experienced of 2024. There is this element of monstrosity that permeates this psychological horror film that makes my mind think of the kind of artwork we'd see from an artist like Francis Bacon. The one element of the film that I find fascinating is that the face of evil wears a surprising disguise. There are more than a few twists and turns in this film that frankly caught me off guard, and unless you actually know the story of this film, I imagine that you might not be ready for it. So obviously, as usual, no spoiler, but I do think I kind of should give out a bit of a trigger warning for women, or even beyond women, because I myself am a man, and I'll be honest, there were a few scenes in this film that made me sick to my stomach. I shudder to think that something like this could have actually happened in real life, but I guess it shouldn't surprise me that much knowing what kind of atrocities mankind is capable of. Furthermore, I have to sing high praises towards the sound design and soundtrack of this film. There's something incredibly industrial and raw about this film. It's truly unnerving because it also manages to have this element of intimacy as well as this nightmarish screams as if they're dragged out from the depths of hell itself. It really gets under your skin. Even something mundane like eating. The noise this one character in particular makes just eating his food is something that really grossed me out. So yeah, sonically this film made a very strong impression on me. And finally, the performances are equally visceral. Our protagonist Vic Carmatsona gives a haunting performance, and her deadpan, frankly almost zombie-like look on her face is an image that is seared in my mind. And through her we are able to witness how it is possible for such atrocities to happen. Not that it's going to give us any comfort by the end of the film. Frankly, me and my friend were kind of relieved by the time the film was over because it was a very taxing experience. But even so, I find that the film has a very powerful way of exploring this truly taboo topic of the tragedy and despair of these single mothers just trying to survive in this world of total economic collapse. I won't say this was a fun movie to watch. It really wasn't. Because by the time I left the cinema, I was shook to my very core. But I do think this is yet another great example of the power of craftsmanship and thought-provoking direction through the use of film to tell these kind of harrowing stories. So I'm ranging anywhere from an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. This film will take a piece out of you, whether you like it or not. So with all that being said, wishing you and your loved ones nothing but the best. Take care and talk to you soon.